My work comes out of performance, and I'm basically an actor, which comes from my own reality, which comes from having grown up in apartheid United States. I'm from Georgia originally. I first came to Prague to perform a play called Sally's Rape, which deals with dialogue about racial issues, and is about my grandmother being what I called raped on the plantation. It was not just my family story, it was part of our history. Jeannie Hutchins and I performed the play as a duet all around America, and this was our first time doing it abroad. Go in there to meet my mother. I'm going there no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I want to do events that, for me, are emotionally charged and dramatic. We interview people in the community as the basis for the text, work with local actors, and then stage a performance for the community.
It's a slave auction. We need your help to get the bidding started.
Bid 'em in, bid 'em in.
Bid 'em in, bid 'em in. Bid 'em in, bid 'em in, bid 'em in. Bid 'em in, sing it with me. Bid 'em in.
On the auction block,
Bid 'em in.
with my socks rolled down,
Bid 'em in, bid 'em in.
mistress,
Bid 'em in.
come on.
Bid 'em in.
This is what they brought us here for.
Bid 'em in.
On the auction block, they put their hands all down your body
Bid 'em in. Bid 'em in. Bid 'em in.
to sell you,
Bid 'em in. Bid
to
'em in.
measure you,
Bid 'em in.
smelt you. I think what happens between the audience and the performance is an art form. And the audience really responded to Sally's Rape. The piece has dialogue with the audience. Boy, was there dialogue with the audience that night. There was acceptance.
Prečo v Amerike ste začali robiť takéto divadlo? Čierno-biele. Je situácia v Amerike ešte stále tak vypätá?
The attitudes and the behavior of
Názory a
people
chování lidí
and many official policies that are more subtle
a taky oficiální politika
remain.
je.
That white is better than black.
Já myslím, že tady to je ještě o to horší,
And I think in this country
na
it's even worse.
univerzitě tady v Praze, kde
Because
studuju,
at the university in Prague where I study,
tak žádný černý nejsou.
there are no blacks.
In America, I had been working with black and white people, trying to get them to talk to each other. And we came up with stories as a way to get people to talk to each other. When I came to Prague, I became interested in trying the same thing with a group of Czech and Romani people. And that's how we came up with the Stories Exchange Project. I was trying to get the people whose interest I had sparked to enter a process of work with me that had to do with using their culture as a way to dialogue with others about their culture, especially for the Roms, because the Roms are people there whose story isn't heard a lot in that society. Be aware of any sound you may want to make.
Be aware and make.
Of sound that you may want to make with your voice. We would try theater things, putting people in space to, as I put it, dare to tell the story boldly, joyfully, however. Let's go around again. A little quicker this time. Same exercise, but add sound. Decide among you stories that may come up, you know, like you're sitting around talking to each other. That's the work.
And then I try to remember how I used to see Roms in the past. I saw them very romantic way, but some way they look different. And I realized that I'm representing the Gaji, the white person, the Czech person there. And I thought, all right, so I should tell some stories about how whites can see Roms.
The way the piece is constructed is that people collect stories from other people that they know. Interview people of their communities, people that they work with. And that happened for about a year, collecting stories. And then there were monthly meetings of what we call the core.
I love the part of gathering the stories, to meet with them, to interpret as well, because that's incredibly exciting when the others start to think about their stories or their own feelings. That's incredibly exciting. We used to have meetings every month in Ina's place, and that was beautiful. That everyone was telling his story or what he heard or what happened, and sometimes we were discussing the way how we perceive things as a Roms or whites. I tried more to listen.
Everything is crashing down on me. The earth is strangling me. I dreamed that I could hear the tolling of the bells, as if all the Roms in Bohemia were dying. The bells slowly striking away the hours of their lives. Our houses were covered in black shrouds. They put my hands in chains and made my home into a prison.
Just going through my own feelings, that I discovered more about the others. It was the most deeper, most emotional part of all the process. It's hard to remember. It took me a long time. I was just sitting for hours, you know, and thinking about the feelings I had when I was a little girl and so on. And it was some way painful. I taped the stories I was translating from Romani to English. So then I make tapes for Robbie, who had to listen to it. Poor thing.
I received the tapes, not only the stories, but the recordings from the story meetings, which were their takes on the stories, which is essential to me in the process. And so I would listen and just kind of take them in. And out of that, begin to select and write and shape a script for the piece.
Hi, Robbie. I used to go to see another schoolmate of mine in different part of my neighborhood. And whenever I walked to her, I had to pass a Romani gypsy house. We used to call it a gypsy house. It was a big house and it used to be full of Roms. And I remembered that day, it was summer, it was a beautiful sunny day. And while I was passing the house, you know, it used to be dark and kind of, we thought, dirty. Suddenly I could hear the violin. First time in my life I heard the Romani violin. And I remember I stopped, I couldn't move because I was so touched by their music. I was thinking that if someone plays violin like that, he can't be stupid, as people say, you know.
No ale od naší kávky, tak musím žebrat. Až žebrám, tak musím trpně. A tu šajkyle z lokovy. A čeleva stenca.
Nemůže, Yes, what?
Hello, Ruby. Hej, budeme pracovat dneska. Tvrdě pracovat.
We are going to work very hard.
Yesterday.
Put aside what you did today and just concentrate on what you're doing tonight. And do a very small warm-up, which I want to go right into the rehearsal from the warm-up. Okay, let's go.
Kde jsou židle?
Attila, I want you to take care that Ilona. The stories that Attila Ferkova and her mother Ilona Ferkova collected were stories from their grandparents. And those stories were about the Holocaust. It was something that was in everybody's background because many of them were the Roms who came from Slovakia. Many people who've been through horrible things don't talk about it. They don't talk about the Holocaust because it's too hard. So bringing up these stories helped people talk about these things that had happened to their families.
When my mother told me that grandmother was on the camp, I went to grandmother and I want to know your story. Could you tell me about it? First, I tried to repeat it.
Jak jsi byla v Plavči?
No tak jak jsem byla, no tak v Žaline tam na práci, ne? Sari mal pre suťa modoj, tak to sa nám hode andro trojstup a hode kávka, le muršen, le džuvli, en savoren. A memang kávka garudjom pavo džuvli, a kávka man garudjom, ne? Kávka som až čulim garudjom. Saro oromnia trđona z očaja.
I cry. It was very sad stories that more people died and there wasn't nothing to eat. And this was very sad. Right now I'm in the middle school, and I'm proud that I'm there. There are not too many gypsy people, just 3 from 600. First time when I came to school, girls was there and they told me, you are not gypsy, you are different. You don't look like gypsy. I said, I am gypsy. They said, no, you are not. You are different. You learn and they don't. But I said, you don't know about their life and about this.
Attila started off very reluctant, very young about the whole process. She giggled a lot, but she also had a talent, and I could see that. And toward the end, Attila, I realized, is an actor.
Romale! Avendike sa lokerjom ker, Margitko!
The first time I went to Margita's in Prague, I didn't have a clue about the situation. I mean, I knew about the way that the Romes are discriminated against in the Czech Republic, throughout Europe, a little about the history. The Rome people that I met had the different history. They looked different from me and so forth. But the minute you sat down and started to exchange, I mean, images like them and us, it was like it was the same them and the same us.
I already knew that there was something that needed to be done with the situation in this country. We are all still living in fear. My family lives in fear. My parents lived in fear. I live in fear. Almost all the gypsies live in fear. They never could live in freedom because there was always someone there to stop them.
African Americans kind of think we connect with other people who have been colonized or who are discriminated against. And Margita talked as if she really liked what I was saying, and she hugged me at the end, and I felt like, in a way, we bonded.
Let yourself resonate out to me.
V minulosti se Rómové scházeli, tenkrát ještě nebyla televize ani rádio.
André Gagnon, very special person. He lives in Rakasani. He's a politician there, and very much grounded in the Rakasani community. And so he was, again, the hardest sell in a way, because he was so used to the political way of doing things.
No ale di cá, cada vez que janen, preso jste sám a Jmenuji se Ondřej Díňa.
My name is André Gagnon, and I belong to a group of Romani activists that are working in the Czech Republic on problems concerning the Roms. I work a lot here in Rakasani, which is my home. One concrete result is the establishment of a Romani committee in Rakasani and a kindergarten that was set up for Romani children until the age of 6. that should help them prepare to enter the Czech school system. I think I first heard about the Stories Exchange project from Ilona Ferkova. She asked whether or not I was interested.
Ale když jsem si to promýšlel, tak jsem říkal, to je úžasná
When I was thinking it over, I decided that it could be a wonderful thing because we were creating a space where people could speak about everything they have in their hearts.
Co prostě jako je důležitý, aby si řekli.
When I was looking for stories, I went to my father because with him, I had the opportunity to speak about the story more closely because he was introducing me to it like a father to a son. My mother is a big storyteller. She has a really good memory and she remembers all the little tiny details.
Co je on kolega, kam jdete do kazina? Samozřejmě z důvodu Hasko dá hlavno. Na znameniny a znička len, motivacija rasistická.
Semar tu do strinas ne marjana zo sa Rom, no. Bodaj kazo de Roma parnesa vlachita blondjaka, na. No. A ostrihinelas tu dola, na odalen Haska da radost. Tak penenas. Napred berou Židoch, potom budu brát Ciganoch, o penenas Židi na gumi, Cigani na mydlo, ale paľovejky denale ko Slovaken. A že nezostane nikto, kde Hitler vyhraje.
I remember the day when he said back to me, and he did this thing of like, almost as if he was going inside of his body. He said, you take the memories, the images, and put them out and give them to people, and that way people can hear you. And I just said, that's it.
Fear, good. Nervousness, nervózní.
Je pèse,
Yes, good, good, good.
Don't get nervous.
Buďte nervózní.
See you in the dressing room.
Comes opening night. We talked about what the stage is going to look like, what are we going to wear, how are we going to move the stories. We blocked each moment, and we're ready. And then, lo and behold, panic. and I kept saying, this is good. Because I know as a performer that if you think you've got it, chances are you don't. You know? That panic that was going on, and it really was, backstage, was never about I can't. It was all about how will I do it? Will it be all right? Will they like me? And what actor doesn't think like that? What performer doesn't think like that? Except it was new for so many. The last instruction that first night was, you know more about what you're going to do than anybody else in the room. And that took. And I knew it was going to be fine. I did. But the company went on and started and went right through. And I was just really proud of them. And I remember the first thing that night that happened, we all got in place, and Margita went, let's go. And she started with the stage.
Když to bylo vene, tak nás vyhnali ven, a když to bylo v noci, tak jsme museli jít spát. Samozřejmě, že jsme nešli spát. Ale někde v koutku jsme byli schovaní a poslouchali. Protože i sama o tom mluvím a sama o to na tom.
I think that because I myself speak about it and think about it, that something must happen here. And it really can only happen through culture, theater, or performances. Then of course I was happy. I was glad the people fully appreciated what we did. That felt good, that they understood what we were performing, but that we were not actors.
Tam se sešli se lidi mladí.
There are a lot of people involved in the project. Young people, old people, Romes and whites. But while we were working together, there were no barriers between us. There was no young, no old, no black or white. It was a nice group. And when it ended, I was very sad.
Šla jsem dolů poprosit svou romskou sousedku, aby klíče, mohla bych ti prosím nechat klíče pro maminku. Ona ví, že věří. To mi věříš? To víš, že ti věřím. Myslím, že mě začala mít trochu víc ráda.
The Story Exchange project should be done all around the world. All of us, we should learn more about the differences of the others. And we should learn that the differences are not bad.
I was sitting in the audience and I looked around and the audience was on the edges of the chairs.
A já jsem slyšela, že Němci s těmi ženami i spali. Rozhodla jsem se kopat zákopy, i když mi bylo špatně. Ještě jsem nazbírala zeleninu, co sedláci nechali na poli.
Then was in my mind that I am gypsy and I don't have to shy that I'm gypsy. I can be proud that I'm gypsy. And I am still.
Prejudices between people that are harsh discriminations between people don't have to be. And I think that culture can help people see that. They were kind of like, we did it, right? Did we do it? But they felt really, really good, really good.
Robbie, thank you. Bez tebe bychom to nedokázali.
Oh, yeah, it was like sitting there enjoying it.
Did you really enjoy it?
Of course, I was like somebody behind me was talking. I went, I can't hear.
Teď vám můžu udělat Margita udělala pohádku a už všichni tu chtěli jít domů. Věděli, že tak she did her story and everyone wanted to go. I know. Jak to bylo? Jaký to byl dojem z toho?
Máme cigarety, nemáme, já už to piju.
V Roxy. Vyšel koupit cigáro.
Ale on byl dobrý.
Dobrá.
Na konci jsem dostala
Já jsem ale zapomněla